Good morning. Welcome to the front row seat. I have been seeing, I want to talk a little bit about some of the changes I've seen here recently and what's happening there. Well, I see a lot of articles and things are coming up about consciousness. And I was interested in consciousness and what's going on here and what is all this? And I spent a lot of time looking into the different theories around, consciousness, what we are, who we are, what's our place here, what are we doing. And one of the main ones that I found was Tom Campbell, and I see that he's doing a big symposium where a lot of people who are in the science areas are coming together, and they're talking about consciousness because, the scientists, they all know, because of the double slit experiment, that there's something foundational, and it's not matter, because they zero down in the matter, and they'll all tell you there's nothing there. And so they're going to do this big symposium, and I think it's next month, the end of the month, where they're all going to get together and they're going to have a panel and they're going to all talk about it. And I thought that it's really interesting that that's, coming out into, our reality at this point. The science behind consciousness, which they know a lot about it. They've been looking into it for a while now. And I think that it's good because right now the paradigm is about materialism, and science has split those apart. Consciousness and material world is two different things. Well, I read a lot of Joseph Campbell back in the day, and he went around the whole world and studied all the different myths and writings of indigenous people all over the world. And they talked a lot about what's going on in the inner world, or consciousness, or spirit, whatever you want to call it. And their worldview is completely different than ours. The way they interacted with the world, the way they thought about it, all of it is all different. And the reason it was all different is because they knew way back then that the material world and consciousness, or spirit, whatever you want to call it, sorry I keep saying that, but is one and the same. It's one thing. And it's like it's just circling back around, back to where it started. And when you think about it a little bit, myself and other people I've been around are starting to realize that this is about what's in us, not what's out in this physical world. Because what's in us is really the foundation of what creates the outside physical world. And because we've grown up with a complete, we have a complete different mindset or paradigm about this. It's more about, okay, I can't say that. It's more about, we have a different mindset, and so we have a different perspective on how we view the world. And it's in all of us, and it's okay. It's not something that can't be, looked at and corrected so that we can get back on track. Because as I look around, it is a hot mess everywhere. And it's getting into such a state that people are becoming really unhappy. And I think that as the information starts flowing and coming out about consciousness and how this is all one thing, and it's really about how we feel. Our vibration is what is paramount here. Our vibration is what alters and changes matter, because the consciousness is foundation. It's the bottom basement floor, and everything derives from that. Well, that means that we have kind of dominion over the material world and what happens in our spaces and around us. And thought it was real interesting that that's starting to come to the forefront. And I think maybe just these tough situations that are happening right now, maybe, you know, that's helping get that pushed forward, so that more and more can look back at our history and look back at how we used to perceive this realm that we live in. And it's really helped me a lot. I had to learn from ground floor too. I'm not going to say it, indoctrinated. I was programmed, there's a better word. I was programmed too into a belief system that wasn't true. So as I got confused, as I, you know, moved on in age and started to see what's happening around me, then that's when I started having all these questions, and that's when I started looking into what is going on here. So I'm really glad that the new information is coming out about consciousness, because within our consciousness, that's where all the answers are. And as I was exploring consciousness this last couple of weeks, I was really thinking about this piece of, as animals in this realm, they come in with a certain amount of hardwired instinctual programs. And what I was seeing is that some of these instinctual programs are causing problems in this new modern reality that we're in. We don't live in communes anymore where we group up into groups. But the issue is, we're social animals. You know, you don't see, it's rare that you see like one otter, you know. They're a social animal. They're going to be in groups. Horses like to be in groups. They're social animals. All the social animals, they always group up. And they group up together when there's an outside threat to the group. And I think that what's happening is we're feeling more and more threat as our, you know, reality is shifting and changing. And it's like hitting this deep instinct to group up and make groups and then try to fight it. And I tried that for a minute, but that doesn't work either. Because grouping up and getting mad, that's just putting that vibe out there. That's all it's doing. You're just putting more bad vibes in with the bad vibes. Now, if the group got together and focused on love, focused on people they care about, children they care about, and thought good thoughts and felt good, well, that would be a great vibe to put there. But because we're in, you know, kind of a state right now, all I see is the grouping up and getting upset with the whole group. And it's really unfortunate, but I think that the only reason that's happening is because of this hardwired instinct that we carry. And then I just kind of rolled it off over into, you know, daily life. Most of us live way more solitary than we ever have. And what I noticed is that part of the programming for a group species is to please each other and make the other ones happy. Because when you're in a group, if you've got half the group that's mad at you, well, then you've got a problem. And I think what's happening is there's this idea that everybody in my space needs to be happy. See, that's where the problem comes in. because everybody in our spaces are not always going to be happy. That's not even possible. So when you know, and I've done this a lot because I'm trying to untangle this thing a little bit myself, is when I learned this last couple of years that the only thing that I can fix or manage is my vibration and my reality. That's the only thing I can really work at. Now, I can be caring and kind to others, but if that, you know, starts rolling into that instinct of I need to be in this group at all costs, and then I start, you know, wanting to please and wanting everybody to, you know, have a good time, even at the expense of myself, you know. Oh, let's go have fun. Yeah, that's all good, you know. But having fun is great, but in this realm, a lot of it's, you know, this work that we do here. And if we're not doing the inner work consciously, we're doing it unconsciously. It's always happening. So I think that what information would be helpful for me is, you know, the information around these social instincts that we have. Because I think what's happening is, as we're in the modern world, these social grouping instincts that we have is clashing. So the two, it's a counter clash, because it's too different from each other to make a smooth transition. And that's why I think it's not smooth. And if Tom's right, and we are in a virtual reality, what if part of it is seeing if the human social animal, because that's how we are right now, can adapt and change to live in a less communal environment? If I was running a virtual reality and I wanted to know that, well, this would probably look a lot like it. But I don't know. That's just me pondering again. But, you know, I think seeing ourselves as a human animal with hardwired instincts, how do those work? I don't think that we need to just change everything we are, but when we're not doing well and we're having difficulties, then look in that pile. See if you can find something in there that may be causing some of that upset. And because I've noticed that when I'm upset, that my reality gets upset with me. So, you know, when I start having negative feelings, I just want to get in there and figure out what am I doing here. And that's what I kind of found. I found that I have these social instincts, but I don't live in a world where that's possible. And it's not possible for a lot of people, but it still is possible for some people. But for me in my life, it's not. It's possible for me to visit and group up at times, but not every day. So I was wondering why it was so uncomfortable and what was causing that. And I found it's this we have these narratives or drives, you know, to be in these groups, and without them, that, you know, I'm surmising a long time ago, if we lived in a communal space, and if you didn't have that communal space with everybody there, then your life would just become so difficult that it would just be, you know, turn into a fight for survival instead of thriving in a little village or a little town near you. So that's what I've been thinking about lately and working on, and thinking about how a lot's going to change if, you know, consciousness and the foundation and all of that stuff starts coming to the forefront. It's going to really cause a lot of problems at first, I think. But then I think it'll settle down and say, well, you know, just makes sense. I mean, the Aborigines have always talked of dream time, and they've always talked about spirit, and that they've had all the information. It was just in, you know, using metaphors that we may not be familiar with. So I was having a little think about that. And getting my morning walk in, you know. Have to get up really early here and get out because it turns into the Sahara Desert soon. So everybody have a great day and happy ponderings, and we'll see you later.